Welcome back to Crafting Princesses. Today's tutorial is going to be on a mini apron, which I will be attaching to a gingerbread tutu dress. So I'm going to just do this as a separate tutorial to show you guys how to do that. I'm starting off by drawing my pattern piece. I'm just using an old gift bag that I cut up, and I just need something that's big enough in size for me to make my pattern, so you can use any paper that you want. Now I want my finished apron to be 6.5 inches wide. It's just going to be like a little mini apron, and I want it to be 7.5 inches long, or actually those half inches that I'm adding are for seam allowance, so really it would be 6 inches wide by 7 inches in height. So here I'm just taking my measuring tape and marking 7.5 inches down, and then since this is going to be cut folded in half, I don't need to measure across 6.5 inches. I need to measure across 3.25. So I'm going to put a mark at 3.25 inches as well. From here, I'm just going to freehand my pattern piece by drawing from one mark to the other and curving along that bottom edge. And then up here at the top, I'm just going to bring it in. So I want this to be a bit more narrow than it is at the bottom. Once you're satisfied with the pattern piece that you've drawn out, go ahead and cut that out on the folded edge. So now you have your cut out pattern piece, and this is what the finished apron will look like. So it would look like this as far as the shape. And I save all of the patterns that I make, so I'm just going to label this mini apron. And then I can use this for future orders or dresses that I need to make. I picked up this super cute fabric from Hobby Lobby. It's a beige and red plaid fabric, and then a solid red cotton fabric for the lining. Now I purchased more than I needed because I'm going to be using this for other projects as well, but all you will need is about 1/4 yard to 1/2 yard of fabric, just enough to fold it over to get your apron. And then to save on fabric, I'm only going to cut off what I need. So you don't want to cut it at the fold in the middle, because then you'll have a big hole in the middle of your fabric. So I'm just adjusting here to cut what I need. That's all you need. So here I just folded it on the edge just to the size that I would need it for my pattern, and I did the same with my red fabric. Now both of these are folded, and I'm going to line those up one on top of the other with the folded edges even on the side there. So I have both my lining and my main fabric that I'll be cutting out at the same time. I've placed my pattern piece down. Now you can use something to weigh it down, you can pin it, or for me, when it's something so small, I just hold it and cut around to cut out my pattern pieces. Make sure to use fabric scissors as well. Okay, so here are my two pieces. I have my plaid pattern and then my solid red. And these are the right sides. So when you're sewing or pinning this down, you want to make sure you have right sides together. For today's tutorial, I'm going to be using this trim that I bought, I want to say last year. It was in the clearance bin. I'm always buying stuff on clearance, but you can use anything that has like a ruffly ribbon, or you can make your own ruffle trim if you want. But I really like this brown. It's like a chiffon, or I don't even know what type of fabric it is. But I'll be using this to trim around the edge of my apron. So here I'm just folding the end so I have a clean edge to start with. Now you can pin it where you've completely enclosed your trim to the inside of your apron, and that would make your trim on the outside, when we flip it inside out, longer. Or in this case, I'm actually going to do it in the middle. So I don't want that big of a ruffle trim on my finished apron, so I'm going to have some of that sticking halfway out. Pin along all of your edges and make sure to curve your ruffle trim as you go along, pinning the fabric right sides together. This is what it should look like. And now I'm going to add the straps to tie the apron around in the back. I'm just using a red double-faced satin ribbon from Paper Mart for this. And out of habit, I always heat seal the ends of my ribbon, even if it's going to be sewn and not seen. So I'm just removing a pin from the top of the corner here. And you want to pin or include the strap for your apron on top of the trim, so you want to sandwich it in between the trim and the red lining, so that when you flip it inside out, the strap is sewn in from the back. And you'll see what I mean once we have it sewn. So I'm going to pin that back in place and just leave my ribbon hanging out at the top. And I will do the same for the other side. Now, a little bit later in the video, you'll see that what I should have done here is actually put my ribbon a little further down. So right here where I'm pinning my ribbon in, you don't want to pin it all the way to the top because I'll be sewing that top edge. So what I should have done is put it down about an inch further. But it all still comes out super cute in the end. So here I have it all pinned and sew all the way around the edge. Now I have this sewn, but before I flip it inside out, I want to cut off all of this excess trim because otherwise it would be bulky on the inside when you flip it inside out. So here I'm taking my fabric scissors and cutting along the edge just next to or just outside of my thread line. So now all of that has been trimmed off and we can flip it inside out or right side out. Ta-da! Look how cute that is. So you see what I mean, that the trim, the ruffle trim, is only half the size that it was off of the spool, which is what I wanted. I didn't want that 1.5 inch ruffle. And then here are the straps coming out from the back. At this point, you can press your apron. And then what I did was I folded over my edges at the top as a hem, and I press that with my iron, and then I'll do a zigzag stitch to stitch that down. Alright, so that is all sewn, and then here's where you can see that because I didn't leave a little extra space, my straps for the apron got a little folded. On the final product, it doesn't make a difference, but you know, the OCD in me was kind of killing me, so make sure to put it down just a little bit further and you'll be fine. For added embellishment, I'm going to be hot gluing this white rickrack trim all the way around the edges. So before I do that, I'm also going to add this little gingerbread. So I bought these foam gingerbread shapes from the Dollar Tree, and it comes with 12. They're really thin, just glittered foam shapes. You can also do this with fabric. You can do an embroidery if you want to for your apron, and you would just do that before you sew the two sides together. But here, just for some simple purposes and for quick little craft projects, I'm just going to be gluing this on there. Taking a hole puncher, I punched out 2 little black craft foam glitter circles for his eyes. And then just cutting a thin strip here for the mouth. So when I hot glue this down, I'll just shape the mouth into a smile, like that. And then you'll add the 2 eyeballs as well. For a little extra decoration, I have a emerald green rickrack trim that I purchased from Hobby Lobby, and I'll be putting this across his arms and his legs. And you'll want to hot glue those down as well. Make sure to heat seal your edges of the rickrack trim also, not just your ribbon. Here is the finished gingerbread applique that I've put together, and I used little rhinestones for the buttons. And now we can glue this down onto our apron. Like I said, you can sew this on there. You can do fabric embroidery if you want. But for this tutorial, I'm just going to hot glue it on there. And that is just as secure. Once I had that glued down, I added the rest of my white rickrack trim around the edges and added 2 rhinestones to the top corners. And it is complete. I love it. It's super cute. I love making detachable items for my dresses because they can be worn for playtime or dress up with another outfit. This is a super fun and easy way to just add something extra to your tutu dress. So be on the lookout for the gingerbread dress tutorial. I should have that up in the next few days, but I did this one as a separate tutorial just in case you want to know how to make a little mini apron. I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to subscribe and like this video. I will catch you all next time.